Hello, welcome to another video. This time part 2 of making an RPG vlog thing. I'm still not sold on what I'm calling this series yet. As with everything I do, I got a little bit ahead of myself. I originally planned to kind of do this as a series of very gradual steps on how I was going to make this RPG zine thing. But I got an idea in my head and it turned actually into 2 ideas, one of which I will be talking about in the coming weeks, hence the weird background, because that's what that involves, so it needs an iron, but apart from that, yeah, I'll tell you about that as and when that kind of materialises. But for now, the zine, I've made massive progress, so let's talk about that. Okay, let's get on with it. Just before we get on with the video, I'd like to let you all know that I've started a Patreon, so if you really want to support the channel and get some exclusive weekly prompts, some how-to guides on how I make my art, RPG resources, and in the future hopefully playtest some stuff, as well as a credit at the end of every YouTube video I make, then consider joining the Patreon. More information in the description. Thanks. Okay, on with the video. So in the last video I covered research, and as I was researching through lots of different RPGs and zines and all sorts of other things, I got a little bit obsessed with how different games dealt with character death, and an idea popped into my head based around the idea that most games end when you die, or your character dies I should say. So I decided, what if I made that the start of my game? So I worked around this idea that you're dead. Now, I know that sounds pretty morbid, but I kind of want to do it in a quirky and maybe, you know, kind of a meaningful way. So the idea is you've died, you know, a normal-ish death. There may be circumstances around it, but you're unable to accept that you're dead. So you are a ghost, and your first encounter will be with Death, the Grim Reaper. But you're not ready to confront him yet. There's an awful lot of things you need to do to get round or to accept the fact that you've died. And for influence, I'm kind of thinking more Beetlejuice and Tim Burton-esque things rather than kind of horror and existential kind of dread, that kind of thing. So that's sort of where I'm going, and these little drawings are just my way of trying to explain how my thought process goes when I'm designing a game. So yeah, your initial antagonist is going to be Death, the Grim Reaper. So the goal of the game is quite simply to go from this shocking thing that you've died to accepting that you're dead and moving on to whatever comes after. And the idea is to gain a series of points. I don't know how many yet, so we'll work that out, but through a load of different kind of encounters to go from grief to acceptance. And there'll be a chart on a character sheet to track this. I don't think there'll be quite that many spaces, otherwise it'd be quite a chunky kind of zine type thing, I think. So thinking about different kind of things you would have to go through to accept that you were dead, the first one would be your cause of death. So, you know, dealing with the fact you're dead or how it happens, so that could be generated randomly. And then through visiting a number of locations with lots of different encounters within them, you'll gain this acceptance. So, you know, different encounters could be the graveyard, you could want to go home, maybe you want your house to remain empty, maybe you want people to move in, you know, it'll depend on the different encounters that we set up. You might want to make sure friends and family are okay, or maybe if you were murdered by a friend or somebody from a family member or something, maybe you want to wreak terrible revenge upon them. I don't know, but a number of different encounters per kind of location is the way I'm kind of thinking about this. You might want to revisit your work. Maybe you've got some unfinished business at the office or wherever it is you work. That could be the thing, and a whole load of other stuff too, you know. So I'm not nothing set in stone yet. This is just kind of the blueprint of how the game could work. Okay, so how do you overcome these these obstacles. So first off, we need some attributes related to being a ghost. So the first one I kind of thought, and I paused here because I couldn't remember how to spell the word, so is grotesque. So this would be an attribute you would use to scare people and things. Maybe that's a way to come to terms with it, and because it could be done in quite comedic ways, not just terrifying. Our next attribute would be haunt. This is your ability to possess things and people, to still interact with the world of the living. Our next one is orate. So this would be to whisper or speak to the living or freak the living out that way. Our next one would be spirit, and this is your ability to resist things. So perhaps you'll run into ghost hunters or things like this. It could be a way to resist them. And our last one is to touch. So this is your ability to move things, because you're not corporeal. And the eagle-eyed among you will notice that this spells ghost. So I need a system, a simple system. So I've gone for a roll under system because space in a zine is limited, so I don't want to put big explanations of difficulties and things like that. So roll 3d6 to generate your attributes, roll 2d12, and the idea is to roll under your attributes. If you roll a double, like this, that's a crit, and you'd be able to improve your attribute by 1. If you rolled a double and it's over your attribute score, that would be a fumble, so you would lower your attribute score by 1. So there's kind of a nice little kind of system there. And I've decided to call it After. Now, I'm not married to this font or anything, but I think it'll be quite an interesting game. Anyway, folks, let me know what you think in the comments. So my next step is to decide on a visual style and a layout and a feel for the game. So that'll probably be the next RPG vlog video from there. So we'll be back to a few more mini dungeons and a big orky dungeon at the end of the month. So be sure to join me for that. If you want to support the channel, visit oddartworks.com where you can get prompts and maps and all sorts of stuff. I'm also starting a Patreon, so consider joining that, link into the description. You'll get credited at the end of every video, but there's more information on that below. Alright folks, like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Take it easy. Bye now.